What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Therapeutic Edge. Well, today on the table in front of us is, one of my favorite budget knives. I share a lot of expensive knives on this table, and recently, thanks to Blade Show West, I've really been after that. But I'll tell you something, I have a few favorite budget knives that I want to share with you guys in amongst all of that, because not all knives need to cost $300 or $400. You can get really good knives for between 20 and about 40 bucks. And I think it's worth talking about. I really do. On the table in front of us is the Ganzo FB765. This is actually a new offering from Ganzo. This is in their Firebird line. This is 440C. It has the Ganzo lock, or whatever they want to call it, but the action is so good. It is, by all, in any measure that matters, just an excellent all-around pocket knife. It has a nice deep carry clip. The action is, as I've mentioned, very good. The 440C that comes out of China for these knives is exceptionally good. It holds an edge very well. It is, well, look, for years, a long time, in fact, 440 was the steel of choice. It has, of course, been moved past now by some fancy other steels, but for 20 bucks or 25 bucks or whatever this thing is, this is a really excellent blade on a really well-made knife. Now, I know that Ganzo has a bad reputation. I also know that in the last, that in the last year and a half, they have put a concerted effort into manufacturing knives of unique design, of their own design, out of good materials for the budget knife community, and they have done a spectacular job. So once again, this is the FB765. This is textured G10. It has a G10 backspacer. All the hardware is silver. It is steel liners. It is 440 stainless that is done very well. It has whatever this Ganzo lock thing is called. Now, some of you are going to say, they stole that from Benchmade. Well, maybe. But a few years ago, Benchmade gave up the patent. And so now, no, they didn't. Anyone can make a knife like this. And it's okay. That's what happens. This one in particular is very comfortable in hand. It is very stabby, but it has a nice, robust tip. Isn't it really going to give me a hard time? Yeah, it is. Well, anyway, there you go. Or close enough to it. I really like this thing. It is nice and slicey, although it is not a laser beam. It is reasonably thick stock, but it has a nice swedge cut into it. It is just an attractive pocket knife. And it costs, what, between $20 and about $25, I think. That really, you can't beat this thing with a stick. You could, however, use it in a good gas station fight if that was your jam. It is excellent for draw cuts because of the way that it is shaped. You know, it has nice belly up here by the tip and a nice flat for push cuts. The thumb studs are actually sort of up and mostly out of the way of the cutting path. And the way that I can show that to you is by grabbing this. Nope, not that. Hang on. Well, this will do. As you can see here, right, it is primarily out of the way of the cutting path, which is very nice. A lot of knives don't do that. They put thumb studs on the blade right in the middle of what is essentially the cutting path, so when you're pushing through stuff, you're hanging up on the thumb studs. This knife does not do that. The shape is very nice. Now, I've mentioned before that I prefer sort of rectangular handles, and this is a little small. Let's take a look at what we're talking about. You get 1, 2, 3 and a quarter inches of cutting surface in 440C. You get 3.5 inches overall of blade. The knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 3/4 inches long. It is very comfortable in the palm. Now, because of this point, if the handle was any shorter, I wouldn't be comfortable with it. But this is just the right size. In hand, because it is thin, I do get a little bit of wiggle back and forth, but not much. If your hands were smaller than mine, you wouldn't get any at all. It is just at, I think, just at a 1/2 inch through the handle, which is very, very nice. The handle itself, let's see. Well, at its thickest here, it's just about 1 inch. For the most part, it's about 3/4 inch and then gets narrower as it goes down. This thing pockets, this stamped steel pocket clip just pockets so well. So what do I keep this for? I have all these fancy knives. Well, sometimes I don't want a knife in my pocket that I have to worry about. Sometimes I want a knife in my pocket that I can just use. This is one of those knives. And you're going to hear that a lot where the Ganzo stuff is concerned, because that's just their truth. It really is. They make excellent knives that if I was to lose one, it is not the end of the world. This is running on bearings, which is a really nice feature, and you can feel it in the action. But again, I just want to point out what a beautiful knife this is. Look at that. It's not super fancy. It's got some nice texture on the G10 here. The way that it's shaped makes it sit in the hand very, very well. It's important to support companies that may have a bad history when they start to do things well, because we want them to, particularly when they're capable of making such good knives. We want to show them that we appreciate that, and we don't want them to make homages or copies or whatever the hell you want to call it. What we do want them to make are good, original, interesting knives within this price range that we can grab and use and share. And well, that's why I bought this, and I'm really glad that I did. Let's do a size comparison. As I said, this is not a terrifically big knife. We will go up against our old friend here, the Rat Model 1. As you can see, the Rat 1 is much, much bigger, but you actually get an equal amount of cutting surface on the Ganzo, on the Firebird FB765. 765. I'm tired. Anyway, you get as much cutting surface on this knife as you do on this one. You just get a lot less handle, which is very much more convenient for pocketing. Moreover, the 440C on that holds an edge much better than the AUS 8 on this. Like I said, I don't hard use my knives, so for me to notice the difference is really saying something. This thing holds an edge much better than this does for my daily use, and that's packages and food packaging, some cordage. I mean, it ain't much, but it's noticeable. I think that's important. Let's do it up against its little tiny brother here. As you can see, it is larger. Well, in handle area, it's not much larger than the Rat Model 2, but you get so much more blade. Look, I understand why people love these. I really do. But for the money, this is, at least to me, a far better choice. Well, I guess that's about it. It is, in the end, just a really nice, inexpensive pocket knife. It is made by a company whose history is not great, but it is part of a move that they are making to move away from that history and into better knives at a really reasonable price for folks who don't want to spend $200 or $300 on a pocket knife. And I think we should support that. Whether you choose to or not is entirely up to you. All I can do is offer you what I've seen and what I think, and you can make your own mind up after that. And I hope you do. As for me, as long as Ganzo keeps making stuff like this, I'll keep buying them, because this is a really good knife. Oh, it's ambidextrous. If you don't mind the plate, you can swap the pocket clip back and forth. I guess that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this or any of the knives you've ever seen on the channel, feel free to ask down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe on your way out. I would love to have you here. Wow, English. I'm good at it today. I would love to have you here on a regular basis. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.